Welcome
Long.
to the Renegade Pirate Podcast, man.
Happy to be here, man. Oh, by the way, I came prepared.
Nice. What happened, man? What happened today?
I was just like, and they needed it. They could not have survived the weekend. Basically, they wouldn't have survived the weekend. They wouldn't be able to survive until Friday, basically. And I was just like, I am going to do a run back for you, which basically means that I just did what like I did earlier. I basically go back to the office. But this time, instead of me driving back with the truck and then driving back with the truck, I dropped the truck off, pretty much finished out my day, but I grabbed what they needed and just drove there personally after the office to drop off the product. Well, that's good customer service. That's what we want to provide. But it just what if everything had gone by fine, if I had enough, maybe if I had enough of that certain product on my truck prior to leaving the office, I probably would have been able to get off by 1 or 2 o'clock, which is what I was originally planning. But because
you opened it, you know.
Well, it's one of those things where the label, it sounds very similar to the same thing that I needed. So I think it's just, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting there and I'm just getting the day started. And I see something. I see the letters that I think I see that I need. I grab the case, and then it's not until now I just know. I mean, that is half the experience. You learn from your mistakes to be like, okay, you know what? That's just make absolutely sure that it's going to be what you need it to be. Otherwise, it's just going to be one hell of a day, which it was. But enough about the late start that we had today. How's everything going with you, man?
Not too much. Another day.
Another day in paradise.
Another day in paradise, you know. Hey, actually, introduce yourself, Mike.
Well, my name's Manny, and I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I've been living here for the past 3 years. And originally from San Diego, born and raised, lived there pretty much my entire life. Things happened, and we can get into that. I said we get into that if you want to talk about that kind of stuff, because anyone who's watching this, I want you to. We're gonna go deep here, but that's how we're gonna go deep. So anyone who is watching this, I met Daniel. We met what, 5, 6 years ago now?
About six, 7 now.
Yeah, time flies. And me and Daniel, along with another group of a bunch of people, we all immediately hit it off. You're an easy person to get along with, Daniel. And we became best buds. And at one point, you and I, and we became roommates. We both were kind of in situations where we're like, we needed to do something in terms of getting out where we were. And we did, and we lived together for a good 3 years. Everything was, we had a great apartment. We had a nice view. I got to meet really interesting characters in your group, which were about 95% of them are really great people.
That's what I'm doing this podcast.
Something happened. I mean, basically, at one point in our lives, I lost my job that I was currently working, and I told you that I basically told you what happened, and I wanted to stay. I did not want to leave, but the way things were going, literally, if you remember that crappy car I had at the time, the Buick was pretty much a piece of crap. It was pretty much on its way out. I got rid of it. I ended up getting another car, but unfortunately, that's the one thing that sucks about from going from owning a car to now having to pay for a car. It was just another bill on top of the fact that I didn't even have a job. So it was just one of those things where it's like, there's no way I think I can manage to live here. And I felt like I got you screwed over the most and once again, I don't, because we've talked about this, but how that never settled well with me. I always felt guilty about what happened. Everything was smooth sailing. We had a great place. And then I got literally I got kicked in the nuts. It was one of the worst things that could have happened. And I remember telling you that I was going to leave, and you at the time obviously were not too thrilled about it because you thought I was going to try and stay. And I was like, there's just no way I can stay, unfortunately. The math didn't work. And we didn't talk for, I think, about a year or so after that. I think we actually, it had to have been longer than that because I moved up here. It wasn't until I moved up here, and the truth is, when you leave, I don't know if any people that thinks this, but when you leave a location, you're born and raised in San Diego, or you're born and raised anywhere, and you grow up and you have your friends, and then you move to a place where you don't know anybody. You start just thinking about people, and you were one of the first people that came up into my mind. I just said, I wonder how Daniel's doing, and God, I really hate the fact that the way things ended, and I took it upon myself to reach out to you and contact you, and I basically, I told you, hey man, if you just want to say your pieces and then be just done with it, and I would have been happy with that. But the thing that made me happy was the fact that you were like, dude, it's all water under the bridge, things happen.
Water under the bridge, man.
But out of curiosity, how did you feel about the whole me contacting you and reaching out and telling you all this stuff? Because I don't think you've ever told me that, and you could probably share that to everybody. What was your reaction when I reached out to you and I told you everything that I just said, just now, about how I felt and how I'm happy I am that we were able to rekindle this friendship of ours?
So for me, it was always this wasn't the time. I know we had this friendship at that point of time. We moved into the apartment, but everything had to come to an end. I always for me, I always think something has to come to an end, or before it gets renewed. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. That's how I always look at things. And for me, I knew you were dealing with a lot of stuff, the car, your job at the time, everything was shambles. So I knew, it wasn't I was ignorant of the fact you were, I already knew you were going through hard times, So for you going and figuring it out and actually coming out and being hey, I needed some time to shape up my life, and I'm back to square where we left off. We left off planning some shit. That's what So that's for me how I felt, because I think even I remember specifically those days maybe some months before you left, we were talking about I was man, what's your dream, man? What's your dream? And you're man, I want to go to Hawaii with so. I mentioned no names, but you're I want to go to Hawaii with so. And I was you should do it, man. It's only $1,000. You remember?
Yes, I remember.
So in my life, I think for me, I dreaming and trying to fulfill my dream is my dream. So I think I'd say it to everybody. I tell everybody they could do it. I tell my brothers, I tell my friends. Some people believe me, some don't, And for you saying that you did believe in me way back to even live together, and for me, that already holds a special place in my heart, So if you had decided there's some people that we just don't talk. It's not there's a connection or there's no connection. We just don't talk.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess that's what growing up does. You know, you find your tribe, you find the people that either believe in you or however it goes. They like your stories, they like to laugh. You know, there's things people see in you that you don't even see in yourself. You
Yeah.
know, so that's how I see it. You know, for me, it's a give and take relationship. It's not like, oh, your own mental well being. You know, if you couldn't handle yourself, how could you be of value to me as a friend? You know, if you're like, ah, la, 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 you know? So, for me, honestly, you know, you hitting me back and saying, like, hey, Daniel, what do you do? My bad. Hey, I'm chill with that, you know. I'm chill with that. And also for you, like, oh man, I want to go to Japan, you know.
We're gonna get into that talk now, huh?
Let's move into that one. Why not? You know, since we're talking, you know, and
yes.
that's at that time, like I was still thinking, what the hell am I doing? You know, I've come to Japan before, done my thing, but now everything was different. Now everything, I'm moving my stuff, I'm coming here, I'm living, you know. So when you hit me up and you're like, I want to come to Japan, at that point of time, think of it as like light bulbs like turning on, you know. Like you said, when you moved to Seattle, you didn't have that friends or anything. But like for me, it's like our goals kind of connected even more, you know, because I know I already invited you before to come with me to Japan, you know.
Yes.
So
back then, financially, I could not have done it.
You couldn't do it. So like for me, it's still the same dream I had, like way back when. And that's the thing is like I really do live vicariously through myself. Because it's like I still do the same things I do because like the people around me, you know. I hear your cries or your dreams and I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's get it done. So that's me. That's why I call myself the Renegade Pirate, you know. And for you, well, your dream was coming to Japan, you know. Why?
Well, the thing that's funny is that I think today, I mean, things have changed. Japan is obviously probably more popular to tourist destination for a lot of people, more than probably anything else out there, in all honesty. And I think it has a lot to do with, let's be honest, I think it has a lot to do with a bunch of the weeb culture, which I am proudly one of those people. You know,
What do you mean by weeb? I've been hearing that word, but I can't even Google it. What does it mean?
The weeb, the word, man, I should have prepared for this. The weeb is clearly someone who is just someone who enjoys the anime world, and you know, where there's that joke among us. Like honestly, like I remember watching someone, and I won't say who this person was, but someone once said on a podcast, like a true weeb, like obviously you've heard of waifus. You know what a waifu is?
I think so. A wifey?
Yeah. You know, if you were to pick an anime character, like who would be your wife in that? Like if you, and what was his? He said a true weeb, if you ask him what his waifu is, has the answer in 5 seconds. You know, it's just one of those things. But there are a lot of no. But to go back to, you know, I honestly have been interested in Japan since way before I think anime has become as popular as it is today. Obviously, dare I say, my first introduction to Japanese culture, and I don't say that as culture because it's not really their culture, but obviously my gateway into Japan was through my favorite monster of all time, Godzilla. You know that? You know, I grew up with that character, and I watched all the films. And that was kind of like my first gateway into Japan. But then I started seeing other stuff. Akira obviously is the most well-known one. Obviously, other Dragon Ball, but there were animes that I had seen prior to Dragon Ball. I already told you about like how I saw things like the Guyver way before I saw Dragon Ball Z. I saw Tenchi Muyo way before way before Dragon Ball. Obviously, Dragon Ball Z was like the big one. Dragon Ball Z was the one that came in and literally just like, and I still to this day, I will not argue against anyone who thinks that Dragon Ball Z is not the greatest anime in terms of like story, characters. There's so many other animes out there that I do think that actually do beat Dragon Ball Z in that way. But that being said, I don't think, and I really do believe this, I don't think I don't think anime would be as big as it is, especially in the United States, if it was not for the huge success of Dragon Ball Z. That might be just me, but in all honesty, I only knew maybe one or two people that kind of were in anime, and anime was very much a niche thing. But then, Cartoon Network, Toonami, you remember those days, Dragon Ball Z comes on, was a huge success. Everybody watched it, and then of course we started getting. Then I guess you can say that's like the golden. The golden age. Yeah, things like Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha. Huh?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. That was when we had that huge explosion of just like anime, and whether you continue to love those products or if you just you have like shined away on it. I still think that Dragon Ball Z has had the biggest success, and it continues to be successful.
Is it Dragon Ball or is it Godzilla? Which one made you want to come to Japan even more?
Godzilla. If I had to pick one, to be fully honest, there's not a hotel that has. There's not a hotel that has Goku's head sticking out of the top of it.
You'll be surprised. You'll be very surprised.
Yeah. I probably would be. I say that now and then I'll go and then you'll show me, oh, by the way. Oh, and just like to people who want to, once again, who are listening to this, the thing that's hilarious is that, so I have, Japan always, any type of traveling for me always felt like a fantasy because at the time, my job, the way I was living, it never financially for me would ever allowed me to do anything like planning a trip like this. Just, most of the time I was making okay money, especially obviously I was able to pay our rent and stuff like that. So obviously I was paying well, but I just, for anyone who's interested, I worked for a job that I really liked. I worked there for a very, very long time. And this is not poo-pooing on them. This is just reality. But when you work for, a private little company and you don't have paid vacations, you don't have sick leave, it's like I can't imagine trying to go to any place and stay there for a period of time without hurting myself financially. Forget the spending money when you're, when you're traveling. That happens. That's just going to happen. It's the idea that when you're gone for that week, that that you're still going to have a paycheck come into your account. That at least so that way you're not sitting there being like, well, because the reality is, if you work for a place and they don't have that kind of stuff, then you just aren't making money when you're on vacation. So it always just felt like something like I've always wanted to do it. Never thought I could actually ever be able to. Things have changed for me, obviously. I moved up here. I got myself a good job. Do I work my butt off? Yes, I do. But at the same time, it's worth it. And I do like what I do, in all honesty, even though, yes, I told you that it was a very long day. But things like that just happen. You can't plan. I tried to plan. I tried to make it a faster day, and it ended up not working out for me. But, the idea of now being able to sit here and be like, because you and I have been telling you, we've way before, because you knew how much I want. Like you said, you invited me that one time, and I was just like, financially, dude, I can't do it. But the idea of when I started to think about it, and then talking to you, and the thing that I don't know how to describe it, but the fact that you just like, hey, you live in the moment, do what you do stuff. I mean, you've gone to more places than you've already been to Japan, but if I remember correctly, I think you've been to Singapore. You've for all I know, you've probably been to the North Pole. For all I know, you've just traveled, and there's something about that. And I'm like, I always admire it, but at the same time, just like, man, I just I wish I could do something like that, but and then when I hit you up, and because I started thinking about trying to do this prior to the tragic thing that happened to the world, and that tragedy ultimately put what I wanted to do on hold for the very long time, until just recently, when we got absolutely confirmation that we can travel to Japan without any type of major restrictions. I know.
October 10th. 11th, right?
11th. And so I will be seeing you in January. That is right. I am getting my ticket. I'm saying getting because I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm getting it tomorrow. I'm getting it tomorrow.
How long did it take you?
How long did it take me?
Like the whole time process, like from the beginning of planning till like plus to January.
I had started planning to. So I was thinking about doing this like technically shortly after I got hired, ironically, for the company that I'm working for now, which was about 3 years ago, because now I had a job that had paid vacation and, was actually really good to me. And I was sitting there like, okay, I think now I can actually start planning stuff. And then we reconnected, and I started, saying, it would be kind of cool if we both can go to Japan, if you're there, or if we both go, and you pretty much, you just said to me, Manny, get your passport. That's all you got to do. Just get your passport. And I was just like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to get into the story. Obviously, for me, people, it was it wasn't as a smooth. I mean, it was a smooth process, but it took a little bit longer than it normally should have for, I think, a normal person to get their passport.
No, but you got your passport like in the same 2 weeks, though. It was still the 2 weeks.
Not really. Remember, because I had to wait a week to. All right, we'll go into that. I had my birth certificate, so you luckily sent me the link, but that still took about a week.
Well, that was because you had the process. You had the process of getting all your documents. You had to get every single document.
No, so the passport came once I had all the proper documents, then the passport came as soon as you would want it to. But prior to that, I didn't have any of the proper documents. I had to get those things aligned, and like I told you, I had to get my driver's license fixed because they screwed up my name. Mm-hmm. So I did the whole, and then of course that took about another week or two for them to send me my new ID card. But that being said, it all got through. I got my passport now. It's sitting there. It's been waiting to be used for the past 2 years. And I can't tell you how excited I am. I really just, a part of me almost still doesn't believe it's happening. Like, I feel like I'm in a bad dream. It's that kind of dream that's like this is a good dream, but then you wake up and you're like, oh, you don't want to wake up. And it's, the reason I chose January, because yes, they're opening on October 11th, but I'm choosing January because, one, I don't want to wait too long. I've waited long enough, along with millions of other people who've been wanting to do this. I've waited way too long. And second, I was like, instead of trying to do a last minute vacation in October, or try and see if I can get time off in November or December, I figured, you know what? Let me just wait for the holidays to be over. Let me just wait for all the big ones to be done. I don't have to worry about not being able to go on a vacation because of just that. Just wait until it's all over, and then literally starting next year, go to Japan. and I've already set in stone. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. I'm not changing my mind. God willing, something major would have to happen for me not be able to do what I want to do, and I'm gonna knock on wood right now, knock on a lot of wood, because I don't want that to happen. But it's something that I'm super and like, because remember, like, I'm a person who likes to plan. I don't want to just try and I can't jump the gun. I need to make sure that I know that that everything will be set for me, and because I wanted to come in October. You remember we talked about that. I was saying I think if it can happen, I want to come in October. But if it's last minute, which is, when you really think about it, it is. Japan's like, now they're finally saying, oh, guess what, we're opening in October 11th. October 11th. Like, that would have been some cool information if you said that maybe 2 months ago. You could have said, you know what, we're lifting all. Listen, people, in 2 months we're lifting all the restrictions. On October 11th, you can go back. That's not what they do. That's not what Japan does. That's fine. But I mean, let's just be honest. The good news is the fact that they announced that they are opening, official, like literally opening, not this half-guided opening thing they're trying to do. So I am going to fulfill my dream. I am doing it. I am super excited, and I cannot wait to find. And like I said, I'm probably gonna cry. I'm probably gonna cry when I land, because part of me is just not going to believe that it's real. Like, oh my God, this is reality. I am here, and I can't wait. I cannot wait for that moment. 3 months, dude. Just 3 months. It's gonna go by. Just 3 months. I can do it. I wanted to ask you. Well, first off, let me start off by saying, how are you doing?
Learning the language, kicking my ass, recording stuff, learning how to edit. So that's what I've been doing most of the time recently. Just studying, learning, figuring things out, trying to piece the missing puzzles in my mind, and like read a bunch of books. So yeah.
It's good for you, man. As long as you you'd obviously that's. I mean, for me, I wish like my tongue just does not have the easiest way of doing it. So I think that's why for me it's like it's. I try and like, I'm trying to learn. I'm not trying to learn Japanese. There's no point for me to learn. I don't want to say there's no point, but I'm not living in Japan. I'm just visiting. No, I did that. Obviously, I've been, now that this is officially happening. I don't know where I have it right now, and thought I had it up there. I guess I don't. But obviously, that my mom got me that book on Japan, so I've been just kind of like. Yep, just kind of like going through that, mostly in Tokyo, because obviously you and I have talked about it, and I think that, a majority of the time, which is not a bad thing, but a majority of it will be in Tokyo. I still want to go to Nara, but I don't know. It's something that, like, a part of me wants to be able to.
What do you want to see?
Huh?
What is it in Nara that you really want to see?
Well, I think Nara has a lot of interesting history. I don't know if you know this. I mean, I assume you do, because I'm pretty sure you live there. But you know that Nara actually was originally like the Japanese capital city before it went to Tokyo. Yeah, it was and it has a lot of cool old features about it. That's kind of like very. I mean, and there's not just Nara. There's a lot of cities that have that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. I just love the idea of wild deer that just accompany the entire place, and you're just kind of like, is it? Because you don't see that here in America. You don't. At least not in the areas I live. You don't really see like just a bunch of deer. Like you're not going to come to Portland and see a bunch of deer just walking through the city, the idea that's just, and the fact that, I know that Japan has laws to protect the deer. You're not allowed to kill them. That you were to kill one, you can get, it's not just a fine. It's like you can get into some serious trouble by doing it, because they're protected by law, which I think is great. It's, and I like, it's just, I don't know. There's a lot of, it's just a really cool thing to do. And if I had to choose, like, I think the thing is that I think Nara I could enjoy for probably about a day or two. Whereas I would, you said this yourself. Like if I was to go someplace like, outside of Tokyo, like if I was to go to Osaka, there's just so much to do in Osaka. You don't want to just stay one night there. It would. I mean, like obviously, as someone who enjoys the brewing scenery, how cool would it be to go what's that area? Let's see, this is me trying to almost get a butcher a name. I don't want to butcher it. But the northern part of Japan, where they brew Sapporo, one of the most well-known Japanese beer. Is that what it's actually called?
Hokkaido.
Is that in Hokkaido? It's like a very cold area of Japan. Yeah, and that's if it's okay, then they, I think that would be a cool place. For me, I'd be like, oh, that's so cool. I'm actually at the place where they manufacture this beer. But the truth is, and you pointed this out to me, this probably will not be my first trip. Will not be my only trip to Japan, God willing. But there's just so much to do in Tokyo, which I know that's true. And
there's a lot to do. There's a lot, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is some stuff that I'm like, all right, anyone who wants to know, I honestly want Daniel to be able to, because he's been there. He lives there now, but he's also been there before I was. And I guess a part of me wants you to maybe show me some things that are like, dude, this is actually not that well known. This is actually something that's you don't see this talked about in travel guides or something like that. I mean, that'd be cool, but at the same time, I, as someone who has read a lot in travel guides and has watched stuff on YouTube, there are places I want to check out, whether it be restaurants, whether it be certain locations, because as excited as I am, and I know that the 3 months prior to it is going to go by fast. That being said, tragically, that also means the 2 weeks will probably go by fast, especially when you're having fun, which I know I'm going to be having fun. I don't think I'd be shocked. I'd be depressed if I was to come back and everyone's like, how was your trip to Japan? I would be like, man, it was the worst thing I've ever done my entire life. I would never advise anyone to do it. I mean, you don't want to hear someone say that. I don't want to be able to come back and be like...
The thing is, I know people that say that. I know a lot of people that say that.
I just find that so hard to believe. I mean, it's got to be a cultural thing. I am assuming that's probably got to be it. But wouldn't you have that experience anywhere outside of the United States, especially if you're just a foreign person to go to a different country? I mean, I think that there's, for any place you go to, with the exception, and I'm not. I hope anyone doesn't see this as anything insulting, but maybe with the exception of maybe some place like London, because they speak obviously English. You're not going to go there. You're not going to have a problem in terms of trying to talk to somebody because it's London. They speak English. They just speak better English than we do, but they speak English. Whereas obviously in Japan, people do speak English there. It's obviously they don't, but it is one of
that's a very, very big misconception about Japan, man. That they speak English.
So you're trying to say that nobody speaks English?
Not a lot of people speak English. Let me say it that way. There are a few people that you'll catch here and there.
But I'm assuming that might be the reason then for why people probably just did not have. Or what? Were you upset because you wanted to tip the waitress and the waitress doesn't want to, because in Japan, tipping is actually not part of the way it is. So it's funny because I worked at a restaurant for years. I have a feeling that's going to be my bad habit, is trying to go to a restaurant and be like, Daniel, how much do we tip? Or you like, dude, no, you don't.
Give me the money. You can tip me. You can give me the money. You can tip me. I got to tip the money for them. We all pay Japan taxes. We all pay Japanese taxes. So yeah, you can give me the money. I'll pay the Japanese taxes for you. Don't worry about it. Everything is 10%. That's their taxes. Flat 10%.
if we're doing it that way, I am going solo on a lot of
No,
my
no,
trips.
no, 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 no. Like, true story. In Japan, their tax. You know how like in California it was like 8 point something percent. In Japan, it's 10% for their taxes.
Uh,
You know, like right
well, I
now,
think that's it.
Japan is in a dire situation because the yen has fallen to drastic levels. So if you're going to buy yen, this will be the best time to buy some because I think they just actually no, the time to buy it has passed because they did some inflation. Wazoo, wazoo, wazoo. I haven't really read up on it, but I know they did something to try to stabilize their
Oh,
currency.
I'm pretty sure. You know, the truth is, it kind of sucks that I'm doing the ticket thing tomorrow, and I was going to do it today. Honestly, I wanted to start this podcast by saying, dude, guess what? I got my ticket. But the truth is, the day just took so long, and I was in such a hurry. And I'm like, if I try and do that, there's just no way. I'll have to tell you to hold off. And I was kind of like, no, I was looking forward to doing this. That's why I said let's just do it later. And I just figured, you know what? Tomorrow's Saturday. It's my day off. I'm just gonna wake up first thing in the morning, and I'll just get my ticket. And I'm gonna let you know when I get it. I'm just gonna be like, it's official. I got it. No more BS. It's done, and it's going to happen tomorrow. Honestly, the thing is that. I'm not going to try and sit here and sprout, you know, I'm not going to sit here. Honestly, I was surprised, but I'm not going to try and sit here and be like, oh, this is how much money I make. Because I don't do that. But at the same time, I kind of woke up and checked my bank account and was surprised how much money I made with my last paycheck. And either I just worked a lot of hours, which to be fair, I have, or this is God saying, Manny, it's okay. You can do this. I was like, I'm not getting into my financial debate. You know, that's just private. But I've already talked to you about it. And Daniel here thinks like I'm a baller. Like, oh, I'm like, I'm not a baller.
Everybody say he's a baller. He's a baller. He's balling.
I'm just sitting here. I'm just trying to make absolutely sure that I'm financially prepared to do this because I don't want to go in Japan and be like, well, that was great. I sat in a hotel for 2 weeks because I was afraid to step out and do anything. So, but no, there's a lot of cool places I want to check out that I don't even think you have been to yet. And if you haven't, then that's great because then that's going to be something that you and I can do together. Honestly, I think the time I'm going to be the most excited, ironically, is hanging out with you and your girl, honestly. So on the weekends, because I know that you said that she works Monday through Friday. So, and I don't know how she feels when she gets off of work, if she really is in the mood to do stuff like that. But basically, I want us to make sure that we plan the weekends to something that we can all do together.
Mm-hmm. We can figure it out.
Because I'd be very, I'm to be fully honest, I don't know if you noticed it when I talked to, can I say her name on the podcast, by the way? I don't want to.
No, you can.
Okay, I didn't know if anyone else has said Yui yet. Yeah, Yui, when I remember when I first saw her when we did the video chat, I started tearing up a little bit because I hadn't seen her since, because she moved out when we were still living together. Because she went back to Japan. So I have not seen her. I hadn't seen her longer than I've seen you. Like at least I lived with you for a little longer after she left, and but I haven't seen you since then. So seeing her on the video chat, I was just very like, I'm like so happy to see you. I mean, obviously I was just happy for both of you guys because obviously this was a long journey for yourself. You're finally there, and it's funny. I don't know if you told the full detail to people, but I kept on talking to Daniel, and he kept on telling me like, you're planning on like, yeah, I know, but man. And then I literally call him like a day or two later, and Daniel's like, I'm in Japan. I'm like, what? He's just like, yeah.
And I worked all the way till the last day, like literally my last day. They actually complained that like I should have given them a 2 weeks notice, which is the correct thing to do. But like I worked to my last day, I worked till the day the good Lord bought my ticket for me and sent me out of there, you know? So, they, I wish I had like a little bit more time to like plan something, but you know, I'm the renegade, man. I do things like at the moment. When it happens, it happens, you know. You catch me, you catch me. If you don't, you don't, you know.
That's probably the biggest difference between you and me. I'm sitting here like I'm the planet. I want to make sure that everything is there. Like, nope, screw it. I'm doing this, and I'm sitting there like,
Nah,
it's like,
as
I'm
long
going
as the
down the
planets
path.
align, once the planets align and the stars collide, boom, 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 we're doing it, you know. We ain't got time to wait, you know. Another thing, like, I make it seem effortlessly, but it's like there's a lot of planning that actually goes in everything. And luggage alone, the stuff I had to ship was like arrows to the soul, you know. Leaving a job that was actually paying me decent, you know, to looking for a job again, you know. So there is some push and pulls and everything. But like honestly, I made the decision and everything lined up. Everything lined up to the point that I am here. Now it's all new challenges, learning the languages. Everything is new, you know. Learning the frontier, you know, talking to people. And I think that's why I like doing the podcast, just catching up and like brushing up on like conversation and like things of and how to talk to human beings because like nowadays nobody really talks to anybody, you know. It's easy for you to be like cham cham about, you know. So everybody gets offended easily. So I was like, all right, try to communicate, try to talk, try to learn everything anew, you know, for the 2022 version of things. And it's just another day, man. Just another day in the adventure I call life, you know?
No, I get it, you know, and the thing is that it's like, it's just, you know, like I told you, it was a bit of it was like, for me, it was like a culmination of everything. It was the desire to want to do something like that. And then I already told you, like, I'm getting older and just the idea, I'm like, you know, I've always wanted to do something like this. And I think that's half the reason why I think that little bitch inside of me, that part's gonna cry when I land in Japan, is because it's not gonna be just the fact that I'm here at the place I've always wanted to go, but the fact that I can actually sit here and be like, I don't know how the powers that be allowed me to do this, because I always thought that something like this was just way too out of my. It's the kind of thing that's like you hear, like it's the kind of thing that you just expect. I don't know. Growing up, it's probably something that you'd expect to, you know, to do something like that. I mean, honestly, to take vacations like something like that, maybe back in the 90s, would have been something that's very much more like you're either rich or you just happen to work for a company that just needs you to fly out to this country in particular for a reason. You know, that's how it always felt. Nowadays, you see fucking everyone and their grandmother going to different countries. Japan has gotten more YouTubers probably now than they've probably had in a long time. A lot of them are English speakers too, which is kind of like, it's just like, I mean, it's great because it's introducing people like me to it, but at the same time, it's like I'm tired of living vicariously through other people, and I'm like, I want to experience that. And talking with you and basically being motivated by you, sitting there and just being like, you know, you only live once. You got, you know, and if you're gonna make a decision to do something, you know, and make a journey that's a big journey, like a big leap. You know, I'm not insulting people, you know, in terms of like, I mean, the truth is, yes, I can get in the car and drive up to Canada and go to Canada and be like, well, I'm in a different country, and I just had to use my passport to get in, and there you go. But
no, you have to make it suit you. It has to be for your own personal achievement. It's something you have to want, you know. It's not like everybody has their own dreams, you know. Everybody has their own definition of adventure, you know. Adventure might be traveling, you know. Some people's adventure might be staying home and like, you know, doing something else. So everybody's, I think, adventure, it just depends on whatever you consider your adventure of life, your dream to be, and actually going for it. You know, as cliche as it may sound, you just have to go for what you enjoy, you know, and find your own measures of success, you know, to gauge yourself on. So if for you, if it's traveling to Japan, you know, that gives you that like poof, you know, to do more, then boom, it's worth it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Some people just don't know what their dream is. They just have no idea what like I'm supposed to do this or I want to do this or I they just copy what everybody else does and they do it and they're like I don't like this. Yeah, because you had the wrong expectation. You were looking at somebody else that actually wanted to do it, but you had no attention because you just copied. So that's where like people are. For me, I feel like people are in that limbo of just knowing what your dream is. What is it you want to do? You know, if
No,
you want to
I
go
get
bowling,
it.
go bowling. You know, if you want to go to the moon, go to the moon. But just
I think
know,
that was a little bit hard of a stretch. You have to do some serious work for that one. But no, I do know I get what you mean. And I will say this to people who are watching this or people who listen to this, like, do it. You know, and ironically, still, I have not done it yet. I can't technically say I've done it until I'm actually in Japan, but I'm on that journey to do it. And I just got to tell anybody else who wants to do it, then, you know, if it's something you want to do, obviously, you know, things might be hard at first, but by all means, just focus on it and motivate yourself to do it. And God willing, you'll have someone like Daniel on the other side. Because I think that might be another big thing that might be a lot of risk for a lot of people is the idea of going to a country where you don't speak the language and you don't know anybody. Half the reason why I think this is a great time for me is because of the fact that you are already there. So I know you guys. I mean, would I have fun in Japan by myself? I could say yes. You know, I could be like, yes, I could find myself, have my own little adventure and try and figure it out. But at the same time, be able to experience it with someone, especially my friend, like a friend like you, makes me just like, strangely, that makes me just more excited to do this. I'm sitting there like, dude, I'm going to the place I've always wanted to go to, and I'm going to be hanging out with one of my closest friends. This is literally, this is awesome. And I can't, you know, and, you know, it's like, I've already told you, and I'm just being straight up honest. I'm buying my ticket. I am putting in my vacation. And if they say anything to me at work about like, oh, this ain't, I'm just gonna be like flat out, I bought the ticket already. I ain't changing my mind.
you're gonna do it, Daniel. You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Be like, yo, Daniel.
Well, the difference isn't that you're moving there. The difference is that I'm gonna come back. So I hope that I hope they don't take that away from me. But
well, you know, I need to figure out how to make some money out in this bitch, man. I need to make some gualala, you know, some gualala out in this bitch. It's actually fun because it's like I have time here. That's like one of the like my biggest assets. I have time. I have time to study. I have time to do online stuff and like do a bunch of things. And I think like my hardest challenge is time management. How to like organize the day in like actual successions and like doing this to this to this to this. That's like my biggest challenge. Because like the food is delicious. Okay. The snacks is on par with like the sugar goddess herself, you know. So I can go to like 7-Eleven and like look around and see what they have, and I'm like, ooh, this, and I'll just be in one corner like, and before you realize, like 3 hours has passed by, you know. All you've been eating, you spend like $100 on like little ice cream snacks. That's like, look, man, I need to, I think I'm going to get fat again. Like it's a recurring event. I think I'm going to get fat again. And I'm telling you, it's not like the fat I used to be. This is going to be like some horrible blubber fat, you know? Damn. Like
it's kind of hard not to fall to the temptation, dude. I've seen some, dude, the fact that there is a vending machine that has canned cake in Japan. I'm sitting there like, how have we not even considered doing this yet? How do we not have that? You know, almost any day you can think of, they probably done it, man. I'm honestly, dude, I'm just so super stoked. Can't wait. Honestly, what we should have done is that we need to do this podcast, but instead of it doing like what we're doing right now, it's like we just gotta do it where we're side by side, and we're sitting there just like we're both just sitting there like, yeah, we're here together in his home and in the place that I have always wanted to be. I mean, I'm super. I mean, God, people already know how. Everyone knows. I have been literally, people, you don't understand. Daniel has been hearing me talk about this crap for the past 3 years. He's probably just like ready for me to be able to do it and be like, he's done it. So he's got it out of his energy. He's got it out of his system.
Well, so, if you do once you do come, you know, you will be like the spokesman of Renegade Pirates. You know, our Japan travel section. You are the spokesman of, you know. You're the one that's like out there in the phone. I went to Japan, and I'm going back next week. And then, man, he was like, hey, look, we getting paid out here. Let it get out, you know? Yeah, man, you know. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Like, I've been talking to a couple of friends, and like, the ones.
Have any of your friends? Out of curiosity, have any of your friends like let you know now that Japan has made this announcement? Have any of your friends contacted you and says, "Hey, dude, I'm going to come now. I'm making it." Has anyone out of curiosity?
Yes.
Besides me, obviously.
Yes. A couple of other people have said that they would try. You know, they finally got their passports. So a couple of them said they will try once it opens up. So, but mostly everybody's doing it, waiting for next year to see what moves and everything happens for now. So a lot of people have been pushing it for next year. But I've had, actually I should do like a tally, like online, a tally of like who says yes and who said no. Because a couple of people said no. A couple of people flat out told me, hey, hold up, I ain't coming to visit your ass. So like, because like it makes sense. It makes sense because like it's not everybody's dream to come to Japan. First of all, you know, some people have other places they want to like achieve their going towards dream. But like, I think you have to reach like a certain level, mentally, financially, and like in life to just say, you know what, I'm going to visit that motherfucker in Japan. You know, you have to be like on a different level, you know, because I don't think anybody can, like the people that's actually doing it, when I look at them, I'm like, man, I want to be like you because you got something right. But in actuality, that was me, if you think about it. I was the guy that would be like, I want to go here. How do I do it? You know, I'll figure out the way. So there are people that's like, you know what, I will try and figure out the way. I want to figure out the way, but I need some hand, like a helping hand. And there's some of them that can't do it. Like they have the skills, they have the move, they got everything, but they won't even want to come. They won't. And it's the same thing like in San Diego. You know, not all the people I know, not everybody came to the house. You know, the ones that did come to the house, they came to the house. You know, those are the ones that, you know, they're like, oh man, Daniel, if you go to the moon, we come visit you at the moon. You know, so there are those ones, and there are some that says, nah, too far. You know, and at that point of time, you start remembering when it was you're
Kinda
right
sad
there
when-
in San Diego, and you're like, hey, come over, and they're like, ah, it's 15 minutes, it's too far. Yeah, all right.
15 minutes, and now you're 27 hours away.
Yeah, you ain't coming to your house, you know, you ain't coming over. So the
It's
whole
like that friend is like, hey, is what's his name coming? Oh hell no, you know he's not coming. He never
ain't
came to our
coming, you
house.
know?
Why the hell would he drive all the way over here? That would be the oddball. Like, oh, wait a minute, you came here?
Get out. You want to set me up? You want to set me up? Nah, I don't. Hey, arrest him. Check him. Something's wrong. You know, so I like it like that because, like, for me, honestly, I don't know how I am. I'm stuck in my own imagination, but like, I don't know. I just feel like new experience here in Japan. You know, learning the language, fixing my life, trying to get everything in order, so that like by next year, like my biggest goal for the year was coming to Japan. You know, and being here, looking at everything, I'm seeing where I need like to fix. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be adjusted. You know, so I have like that ability right now to like see what is missing in my life. You know, in like a slow motion version, and like, okay, I want to fix these things, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to want this to be done. And I know sometimes I get lost in that fixing process, you know? And I think that's why I like the podcast.
I feel bad because it's not cutting out when I'm talking. It's right when you're saying your thing, and then right when you're about to hit the finish line, it's like snap.
The life of That's why I'm checking all these ones to season 0. Once I get the new application and there's no cutting out, that'll be season 1, you know, season 1.
It's got to be better than what season 1 of Lord of the Rings is. Whoa!
Man.
But no, prior to what you're saying, I you know, it's honestly, I mean, obviously, we got to just be honest. I got to be the better friend because I'm coming in January. Your friend's coming in February, and other people are gonna plan for later. Like, I'm coming as ASAP. You know, that's right. You heard it first. You want to beat me? You better be there in December or something. You know, that's how it's gonna have to be.
Why somebody coming like October 12th? You know, they open October 11th. Somebody go October 12th. Like, hey Daniel, I'm like, what's up? I'm here. I'm what?
Knowing my luck, it'll be Trey. Trey's like, oh, I'm gonna beat man. He's the one that shows up.
Trey coming over here. Let's see. I don't put it past him. Let's see if he'll make it.
Well, remember I told you how funny it would be as if you and Trey planned it like that. Like, Trey came, and then I came, and then I'm like, hey, Daniel, and then right behind me, like, it's Trey, like, hey, man, I'll be like, what the hell?
That would be an expensive. I wonder who will be paying that bill. Either me or Trey. One of us has to pay that bill, and I don't think.
Hey, he's your friend. Trey, if you see this, you're my friend too, man. I love you. But it would be funny if someone was to bring us a bill. It's like, who's taking it? It's like, dude, you knew him first. He's all yours. I saved up way too much money to be spending it on him. This is for me.
Oh man, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
But no, I'm just, you know, literally the three best things in the world are happening to me. Like, I mean, more than that, work is good. You know, I got that new position. That's going to help, just better for me, obviously, in the future, but that's also going to help me even better when financially. You know, I am so happy I have not used up any vacation. I can't tell you how much time I have literally thought about using vacation time for like when things were not looking the way I was hoping they would go. I was literally thinking about taking vacation time off actually in October, like just taking a week off, staying at home, not doing any major traveling, just be like, you know, I'm just gonna take a week off and just relax. And you know, because like I told you, that's the one thing, and I'm not bitching. I know some people would probably bitch about it, but I'm not complaining because that's just the way it is. Like our vacation time does not roll over for next year. I told you that already. You have to take your vacation as soon as you have it available to you, because if you don't take it, then you just lose it. And I was very tempted to be like, I'm just gonna take some time off. I'm glad I have not used up any vacation, because obviously there's no way I don't want to make my trip to Japan short. Obviously, like I know you jokingly said, why don't you just come for a month? And I'm like, well, I can't get that kind of time off. Yeah, but that being said, you know, I knew that Japan wasn't going to be a week either. I said it's going to be a solid 2 weeks if I go to Japan. There's just no way in hell I'm going to make that. You know, a week. There's nothing that. I mean, I'm not trying to say you can't do anything in a week. I'm sure you can, but that's just not. To me, I think that's just a lot of money spent for such a short period of time. I'd rather spend a lot more. I'd rather spend the money and have a fabulous 2 weeks instead of spending the amount of money and only having 1 week of enjoyment. And then two. You know, I'm sitting here saying 2 weeks ago by a week will go by even faster just by itself.
You just make it 3 weeks. It's still not a full month, huh?
I already told you why, though.
Why?
Because to be fully honest, I actually will be taking the 3 weeks off.
Oh yeah. You come back.
Yeah, but I'm gonna come back home, and I'm just gonna that week is gonna be just recuperating from my adventure in Japan. I don't want to listen. I'm not complaining about my job, but the last thing I want to do is have a blast in Japan and literally come back, and the next day I have to go back to work. No. I plan on taking it easy when I get back home. Just to obviously, I have to adjust to the timeline. Like, obviously, right now what time is it right now in Japan for you?
2:36.
Yeah, see, 2:36. Right now, for me, I think it's past 10, I think. Past 11? I can't really look at my phone right now because obviously I'm using it right now, but it's
10:36.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm going to have to get used to the time adjustment. And honestly, I think I'm really like wondering like how because I know I'm going to be looking at I'm going to be on the internet tomorrow looking for a plane ticket, and it's going to be very interesting to see which one I choose, because I think right now I'm not going to lie, I think we were talking about how kind of a pricey it is. Like you were saying how like you've never spent over $1,000 for a plane ticket to Japan ever. I think it's fair to say that I will be. I don't care. I saved up enough money for it. That being said, I think the prices did go up just now when Japan had made its announcements that it was going to have full, you know, no more restrictions. Everyone's like, once they heard that they can go, people are like, now I think people literally are right now, as we speak, are planning their trips. Whether it's as soon as mine or whether it's later, people are like finally being able to sit here and be like, I can finally actually plan something. Because my time has jumped from multiple like times I wanted to do this, times I want to do that. You know, like it was hilarious. So I remember telling you, I was like, maybe I was telling you like maybe I'll come in June. In June it'll be my birthday, and hopefully Japan will be open and stuff like that. You were the one, to be fair, kept on saying, dude, they're gonna open in October. I was the one that was very much like, yeah, but they said they're gonna open in, they said they're gonna open in January, and they technically, I mean, not January. I said July. I was saying like, because this was back during the summer, and we were sitting there like, I'm like, so when you're saying they're gonna open in October, like, dude, they said the same thing in like June they're opening, but then we found out that it was just like limited access and all this other stuff. So I always just kept on, I guess it's just that part of me that was very much like, because I gotten used to it at this point, just being like, yeah, okay, they're opening, we'll wait and see. To have that initial reaction to read that article and read what basically the prime minister said and sitting there like that, I'm like, oh my God, it's actually happening. I really wish I could sit here and tell you like, dude, I'm just coming next month, but that's just not reality. I don't want to say that's not reality, but I just got this new position. It's really short notice to be sitting there like, I'm going to do this. So, but yeah, just being able to now sit here and be like, I can actually plan it and do it. And I'm just, I don't want to beat it with a dead horse, but man, it's just, I'm excited and I can't wait to do it,
Called it. I called it. I told you if I was a betting man. If I was a betting man, I'll be rich.
You know what? When I come to Japan, I'll get you a cookie. There we go. That's what we'll do. I'll get you a cookie.
You see, you might have set yourself up for more than you can bargain, Because there's a store. The cookie is like 17 feet tall. It's like, they custom make the cookie and it's like 2 stories high. I'm telling you, 17 stories, like thick. So you might have set yourself up and it's like 200,000 for a cookie,
So Daniel, do you want the one with the bean in it, or do you want the one with the custard? Which one's it gonna be? Is it the green tea flavored or the mochi? Which one?
Don't worry, you'll find out when you get there. It's chocolate chip vanilla chip beans. This place.
Honestly, there's a couple of places that I'm gonna start. I think I'm gonna start doing. I want to send you. Either I should write down the links and send them to you, or I could just start writing down a list of things that I want to check out.
Just write the list of things you want to check out. Then, like when you come here, we'll figure it out from there. Because that's one of the things I need to do for myself. It's like some places I want to check out. Like there is places I have gone to. But like trying to get myself into the mindset of enjoying the place now that I live here, So there's also places I want to go. So having to figure that out too.
Well, I think it's just gonna be great because you and I can both just enjoy a journey together. Whether it's a place that you've never been to and I have not. Well, obviously, if you haven't been to it, then it's gonna be brand new for the both of us. But if you've been there, then it's just going to be like, great because you're gonna know what you're gonna be like. Hey, dude, we gotta check this out. I mean, honestly.
No, that's the thing. Like Japan, if you have a sense of adventure, like if the sense of adventure is there, you could go around in circles, and like every single time it's brand new. Like you will still find new places that just keep going in a circle. You will find new places. That's how crazy it is. So, and that's just Tokyo.
And that's just Tokyo.
Yeah, like it's its own. It has its own mystery and everything. So when you get here, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
Oh man, 3 months could not go by sooner. It's going to. It's going to. I'm going to enjoy the holidays with my family, but then I'm going to be just like, I'm out. I'm going on my amazing vacation. Going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to be able to enjoy the food, the scenery, and just be like in that moment where I'm just like, I can't believe I'm here. Yay! You know, it's just gonna be that moment for me where I'm just gonna act like I'm probably gonna go from a man in his late 30s to a kid who's in his like teens or something like that. Like, I can't believe I'm here. There's so much to do. So, and then who knows what will be next for me. It's, I think this is going to be my first step in terms of a journey of being able to do other stuff. I think, like, honestly, the thing that's going to make the most sense for me next, if I can do another trip, which I'm sure I will be able to, I think Greece is going to be the next one around the corner. And if you're wondering why Greece, I have family in Greece, so it's going to be something that's a lot more simpler for me to be able to do something like that, because I can be like, oh, well, I don't speak the language, but I have family that have been there, that know the language, obviously, that know the area, they know where to go, they have a place to stay. So that's the benefit, is being able to, stay at their place. Like, obviously, I'm like, listen, I could try and be, and I'm not, don't worry about it, Daniel, but I could be that asshole friend that shows up and be like, hey man, I couldn't find a room to rent out, so can I just stay with you for the full 2 weeks? It's like, can I just crash with you and like old times? We were roommates. Like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be able to be like, Daniel, this is a great day. I can't wait to see you tomorrow morning. I'm going to go back to my hotel and just get some Z's. I'm going to just do my quick browsing. I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a ticket that's going to be both reasonable, but also a little bit more in terms of, I don't mind if I have to stop somewhere. It just seems so weird. I'm just thinking of it like, in terms of flights, like, why are there airlines that literally take me from Portland to LA for a flight to Japan? Why not Seattle? Doesn't Seattle also get a lot of planes from Japan as well? Because I don't know. It just seems such a weird thing to be either going to San Francisco or LA.
Because those places already have established flights, probably.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Yeah.
And I guess if you want to fly from a specific area, then obviously that just increases the price. Oh, you want to fly directly to Japan from Portland? Well, it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z, and you're just
premium bucks. That's what you.
Yeah, I can't afford Z right now. I guess I'll have to go with the other ones. So, but we'll see. Like I said, you'll probably be sleeping, but I'll text you and let you know, like, when it's confirmed, like, I got the ticket, it's done. But I guess the other thing, the thing that's going to have to be the next journey for me is going to start looking for a place to stay while I'm there, because that's the thing that's kind of like, because when I have the idea of the thing is that you can't plan you can, but you can't, obviously I'm not going to be in Japan the day I leave the United States. So I need to find out, like, the plane ticket is when it's going to let me know when I'm going to land in Japan. Mm-hmm. So I have to plan where I'm going to be staying the day I do land, not the day of the flight, the day after, like, the flight. Yeah. So just be like, okay, I'm going to be in Japan that day, so I need to find a hotel for this. I know that you said that I know that you recommended hostels. I don't mind it, but you're going to have to at least maybe send me a link or recommend one that has private rooms. Well, once again, dude, thanks for having me on. I mean, it's funny. I don't find myself, I know it's just a podcast for you, for you and, of course, your friends, but I don't feel myself important enough of an important person to say anything. But this was fun. I would not, right now we've talked about Japan this whole time, but honestly, I'm willing to do any type of podcast with you. Like, if you wanted to talk about video games, we could talk about video games. If you want to talk about mangas or anime or movies in general,
have you finally watched all of the Marvel stuff?
No, I still have not watched. The thing is,
at least WandaVision. You watch WandaVision, right?
I guess I'll have to watch WandaVision. I still haven't watched it, so. I know. Yeah, won't let me off the hook on that one. You're gonna just beat it into me until I do it. I can tell you right now, if you try and get your ass to make me watch WandaVision in Japan, I'm gonna punch you in the face. Like, I did not travel to Japan to sit down and watch WandaVision.
How episodes?
That's where you cross the line, my friend. Like, I'm here, and this is what you want to do with me. You want me to sit down and watch WandaVision. Man, it's only 6 episodes. Like, I don't care.
It's all about WandaVision, eh? You have to watch WandaVision.
But thanks for having me on, man. This was fun.
Always, man. Talk to you later.
See you in 3 months.
Bye, man. Peace.
Bye, man. Take it easy. He disappeared into the beach in the background. He went through the doors of Narnia.